So hi everyone, this is Caroline Mangan here from UCD Global. Today I'm chatting to Shivangi Rai, a current MSc student studying business analytics at the UCD Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. We're going to have a quick conversation today about Shivangi's experience studying at UCD during the COVID-19 pandemic and the supports which she found most useful during this challenging time. I'm also going to ask Shivangi for some of her top pieces of advice for students planning to travel to Ireland for the new academic year. So let's get started. Shivangi, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Caroline, for asking, and I hope you're doing good as well.
Great, thanks so much for participating in the video. Could you start, Shivangi, by telling us a little bit about where you're from, when you arrived in Ireland, and what drew you to the course that you're studying at UCD?
Well, sure. I'm from India. I actually come from, I grew up in Mumbai, the city with a very sparkling spirit, and then I came here to this other very well-brewed city, Dublin, last year. About the course, well, I took my own time, zeroing in on that because it was really important to choose a course, that kind of had a little bit about the area of expertise that I came from and some that I wanted to build. And I found business analytics at UCD to be a good blend of that. That's how I ended up choosing it.
Right. So when did you arrive in Ireland, and how long have you been here so far?
I arrived here last year, August, and I think it's been a beautiful journey so far. Of course, there's it's a whole new situation now, but the last few months have had a very good set of learning. I think I've experienced a good bits of interacting with the city in different spaces and in different conditions.
Yeah, great. And how have you managed that transition between going from the in-person learning to a more remote arrangement for your learning?
So I think that while the change was quite unprecedented, it was like, it wasn't as personal. It was not something that was just about me. Literally everybody was facing it. And I think that makes a lot of difference because then there's more empathy, there's more understanding, that everybody shares with each other about the newness, the unfamiliarity, because, people are very understanding of the situation. Everybody's pretty much sailing on the same boat. And so my point is, that the transition was not just in the learning, but in the whole lifestyle. And learning was like a part of it. Everybody, the institutions, services, people, and everybody was working in tandem to make sure that things were floating. And technology, of course, makes sure that life does not stop. So, and we're also used to the e-learning approaches. We do that a lot for our personal growth. It was just a matter of, a small switch. We do miss out on some aspects, but it has its own perks.
Yeah, great. And have you found there to be anything particularly useful for keeping in touch with your classmates or your academics? Is it all just Zoom calls, or is there anything else that you're doing to maintain those connections?
I think the connections grow stronger given the current time because you're away from home and you're away from people that you're really close to. So your friends become kind of new family. Like you really get close to them because they're in the same boat. They're also facing the same academics, the lectures, the assignments. So you kind of connect with them, and you know that you cannot meet them outside of the impediments that are there. So maybe sometimes we join for a game, sometimes we share artwork, sometimes we share what we're doing at home and making plans that are maybe not in the immediate future, but okay, let's do this, and planning out the future, what we're each looking at, because we're at crossroads now. So
Yeah, so you're navigating that crossroads from being a student into your next step career wise. And
yeah.
have you found there to be any really useful support within UCD to help you navigate that crossroads?
I think the careers network, the careers team is doing a great job, at keeping the momentum going, because especially now more than ever, students really need that support. And I see emails from them. I see how newer ways of them trying to connect to you, to still keep the learning growing, the support growing. And then, of course, there's UCD Global. I like how they keep the positivity floating, with those videos and very creative ways to offer support. So that's, I think, it's very important, and it's appreciated. I'm sure every student appreciates it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think during challenging times like this, like you say, how we're all connected and we're all going through this together. But for international students who maybe had to stay in Ireland and are away from their family and those cultural connections as well during a difficult time, those supports are even more important. And have you experienced any interactions with the support services or any of your classmates? So anything that they found really valuable in terms of student support here at UCD?
I think they use all these virtual platforms and ways to connect. From what I know, and from my class ambassadors and the kind of communication that goes on, everybody is really supportive. So I think communication has gotten faster now because everybody tries to be available for you. So that's really nice. And in fact, it's even outside of the classroom space, it's during such times of crisis, that you actually see the culture and the spirit of the nation in how they deal with it. And, it's like, for a small example, the calls to families that used to be distant, and sparse, they're now more frequent. People are more transparent and freely, showing and expressing concern and care. Uh, and it's important because it's a difficult time. You are away from your loved ones. You know that you cannot be with them, and there's a painful awareness that they're concerned about you as well. But you can convert that very impediment into a platform for closer communication, for more interaction, for doing things that you really love but could not do before. So grow, reflect, learn, doesn't stop.
And those family connections obviously are so important. Like you say, you put it so nicely there, that kind of painful awareness and that concern about you. And it's even more so where your university becomes your community and your sense of family when you are away from home. And just thinking about kind of the richness of Indian culture and we have so many Indian students here. We're so lucky to have such diversity in UCD. Are there ways that the Indian community here in Ireland are connecting, or ways that you have found useful for connecting to your culture while being so far away from home?
Yes, I think it's especially with the festivals. Thank you for that bit of appreciation, though. I adore my culture. I like how vibrant it is. And I think culture is a very important part of, you know, me being drawn to a place, which is why I was drawn to Ireland. Ireland has an amazing culture of its own. It's quite nice. It's quite appealing. So during these times, I think it's weird actually, because uh, when you least expect it, you find yourself mulling over how people in your culture back home would face the situation. Whether it is medicines, whether it is looking at things that build your immunity, you're often looking back at what you were taught and applying that to the current situation. So and now when there are festivals, and then you miss it even more because you cannot participate in them. And I see that people host these live videos and meetings where people can participate, and sessions, seminars. I've attended kirtan melas, it's nice. It's like things that you normally wouldn't do, just because you cannot do it because those activities and that freedom is threatened. You tend to approach it with even more enthusiasm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know the Embassy of India has been really great in terms of the support
Yes,
it's been pushing out
especially,
social
yes.
media.
Them, in the Indian society here at college, the embassy, you're very right. I see how frequently they connect, and that shows, in how they want to maintain that contact and that level of trust, that people can look up to them, and for their queries, for their concerns. I think it's really nice.
Yeah, no, that's great. And it's been really informative for others as well, I think, who are interested in Indian culture. Seeing the Indian recipes posted on the embassy Facebook page, which is
Yes.
really good. So although it's, the aim is to connect people from the same cultural region, it's also helping with that intercultural awareness, I think, in our society, which has been a really good outcome of it as well. So. And I particularly enjoyed seeing some of the videos that you posted as well of Indian dance with your flatmate, and
Thank you.
and seeing some of your artwork and things that really kind of, I know that your probably intention is around just free time and using your time to switch off from studies, but they actually do, I think, serve another purpose of creating that cultural awareness, which I think is something really valuable as well.
Yes, I think you're very right. Although I enjoy, I think, the quarantine has kind of, I would put it that way, that the quarantine has, in a way, brought me to dust off to take the dust off some hobbies that were in a long spell of quarantine of their own. I kind of went back to them after a really long time, but my mind is thankful. I am embracing that creative quarter, and I enjoy it. But then, the idea is also to spread some positivity, to encourage each other, and that doesn't have to stop just because we are dealing with a pandemic, and that has like repercussions, both obvious and not so obvious ones of its own. But that doesn't mean that you have to stop spreading love, or you have to stop doing something positive, or reflecting. And actually, I'm reminded of how on one of the UCD Global meetings, there was this discussion and input from students on how we don't just want to connect with our own community, but also understand the other cultures, find a way, find a passage to feel welcome into other cultures and welcome people into our own, because I think that's truly intercultural. So, and that's nice. So, like you said, the embassy is a good example, and it seems like we haven't stopped doing that either. Of course, we were thinking of creating some events, between societies to do it, but I think even virtually, we're kind of still doing it by sharing videos of recipes and other various aspects of our own culture, and kind of creating that window of introduction for others.
Absolutely. And I think that will be a really good outcome of this situation, that we will have formed these new kind of interconnectedness and new paths, like you say, without maybe necessarily intending to go down those certain paths, but they will be an outcome of maybe this virtual world that we are all operating within, and that brings opportunity for sharing cultural information as well. But a lot of people think that we're restrained from experiencing other cultures because we can't physically travel, but yet we have such diversity within our university community and within our society at large, so that it is up to all of us, like you say, to create those opportunities and to continue to extend those hands of friendship and ways of creating awareness. So yeah, and then finally, Shivangi, I'd just like to ask you if you have some advice or recommendations for students, for international students in particular, who will be maybe starting UCD in September. Obviously, it's a big decision to make during these times to decide to travel, decide to leave family, and face into maybe self-isolating and having a blended learning experience. So are there things from your experience over the past couple of months that you would like to advise or recommend for having maybe the best possible experience within the given circumstances that we have?
I think I'll first congratulate them on making that decision, because I know it must have been tough given the circumstances, deciding, because it's not the normal situation. But I think if I had to say a couple of things, I would say when you're coming here, the fact that you're going to be isolating, spending some time in self-isolation, that's going to be and difficult, because you're making a big change, but you're not really going into experiencing the new country, the country that you were in, and the surroundings. But maybe that they can use that as a cushion, as some extra cushion and some padding to stretch the time that they get to make that transition from the phase that they are leaving behind and the phase that they're moving into. Maybe, during the time that they're spending. I know that for me, it all happened in 10 days. Like in a span of 10 days, I went from a working professional to preparing to coming here, looking for accommodation and starting my school. That was literally just 10 days, but they get this cushion, this stretched additional time to reflect on what they want out of their experience here. Maybe they can, I don't know, this is something that they can do, because they can read more about Dublin and get to know it virtually before they actually experience it.
But I think that's some really great advice, and I hadn't actually thought about it like that, in terms of stretching out that time of transition, and that opportunity to actually settle into your new environment, although you will be confined, but with the technological tools that we have available to us, to use that really to stretch out that period of transition. Yeah. That's really, really good advice. And I think there are so many tools being created as well to support students during that self-isolation period, like the Jumpstart program, which is available from the Careers Network as well, which is, thinking about your career planning, at the start rather than leaving it until the end. So that Jumpstart program is specific for international students at UCD, and is offered by the Careers Network. And then I suppose the virtual Global Lounge activities, which we will be running through UCD Global, is a way to connect and interact with other students from all over the world and from Ireland during that period of time. So yeah, thanks for prompting those parts of the discussion. And I think, yeah, it's making the best out of the situation and using the opportunities that arise from it, really, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I hope they carry food items and ingredients that have contributed to their immunity so far, because they're going to need that. So I hope that they bring it here, because there's a shift and you want to really keep that going. Plus, food is going to be the way of providing yourself comfort, the local food that you've always had. So just get those things, and the rest is all available. Like you said, I think there's the pandemic is the transition. We've actually kind of come to a new normal, and there are so many initiatives being popping up in so many spaces, because everybody's finding better and more creative ways to create opportunities for students. I think if we only capitalize on those and look for the positives, we'll be able to find support.
Yeah, brilliant. So I think that's a really nice way to end our chat on a real positive note. So just to say thanks very much for your time and for sharing that. And I wish you all the best with your next steps as you navigate that crossroads, that really important one. And no doubt there'll be lots of opportunities coming your way.